Assessment, testing, evaluation. What's the difference? Are they one and the same thing? Can you use these words interchangeably? Very obvious sounding on the one hand and very confusing on the other hand. How many times have we been confused by it? My guess is not very many times, because we don't really think about it critically. We talk about assessment and sometimes we use testing or evaluation in place of it. But how come we use the word test in some areas and the word assessment in some areas strictly? Let me use the example of a hospital. When you're sick and you go to hospital, what do? They do some tests, isn't it? So what could that test be? Maybe the test is they draw your blood, take it to the lab. So it's a test. It's, you don't go to hospital and they do a blood assessment. They do a blood test, okay? So that's the test. Then you are admitted in the ward. So you're there. In the morning when the doctor comes to see you, what does the doctor do? Chances are the doctor assesses you, or even the nurse assesses you. They measure your temperature, they ask you how you're feeling, they look at whatever was wrong with you, and they write down some things. That becomes an assessment. Maybe at the end of the week, the doctor looks at your records, evaluates your records. So you see that's where evaluation comes. Evaluation comes when you evaluate. These are the test results. These are the assessment records, like this is how the temperature has been. This is how they've been eating. This is how, whatever assessment they did on you. And they make an evaluation. They make a decision based on this, that based on this, you're getting better, you're released. Or you're getting worse, let's refer you to a specialist, So using this hospital analogy that I've given, you perhaps can see that a test involves some kind of a tool or some kind of a technique. For example, a blood test involves testing your blood using some equipment, Or sometimes you've seen the way they hit your knee sometimes, and your knee like jacks up to see if there's some kind of reflex. That's some kind of a test, once again, to test your reflexes and so on. So you see, a test really involves some kind of a tool, some kind of a technique. Similarly, in education and in school, that's what a test involves. Think about it that way. What kind of a tool or technique are you using? For example, multiple choice quiz, that can become the tool that I'm using to test this person, or open-ended questions, that can become the tool that I'm using to test, okay? So you see that testing involves some kind of a tool. Assessment, on the other hand, is really a process. Assessment is a process that really involves a lot of record keeping, okay? If maybe I could try and read so that you see I'm reading from somewhere, is assessment really is a process of continuously collecting information, okay, about student learning, and it can be done in a diversity of ways, okay? So the most important thing for you to remember here, if you take away even just one thing from this video, is that assessment involves keeping of records. That is the most important thing about the process of assessment. And evaluation, therefore, becomes us being able to make some kind of decisions, some kind of recommendations based on assessment records and perhaps testing results, okay? So I would like to end it there. The difference between testing, assessment, and evaluation. I hope it's clear.